More breaking news this evening. Governor J.B. Pritzker now announcing the state is closing all Illinois schools the same day after President Donald Trump declared a national emergency. This includes
Good morning to the Southern Illinois University School of Medicine class of 2020 and to all others who view this message, welcome. I am Jerry Cruz, the Dean and Provost of the SIU School of Medicine and the Chief Executive Officer of SIU Medicine. I welcome you to this virtual convocation of the faculty of the School of Medicine. The purpose of this virtual convocation is the commencement for the class of 2020, the 46th commencement of the SIU School of Medicine. Today, you will recite the Physician's Pledge from the Declaration of Geneva, and you will be recognized with the degree Doctor of Medicine. The Physician's Pledge of the Declaration of Geneva is the traditional symbol of the honored association of medical science with the highest standards of ethical behavior. In usual circumstances, all physicians who attend this convocation would recite this pledge together. Today, however, the pledge will be read to you and you will have the opportunity to take these words to heart. Your class has asked Dr. John Mellinger to recite the pledge today. I am pleased to introduce Dr. John Mellinger.
Before we take the oath together, let me just say to the class of 2020 what an important moment this is as you commence your own duty and service as a physician and a member of the healthcare profession. For over 2,000 years, an oath has characterized what physicians take at the beginning of that journey, and it's a sacred pledge to the care of the people to whose care is entrusted to us. Will you join me in that pledge now? As a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of humanity. The health and well-being of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the autonomy and dignity of my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will not permit considerations of age, disease or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will respect the secrets that are confided in me even after the patient has died. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity and in accordance with good medical practice. I will foster the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession. I will give to my teachers, colleagues, and students the respect and gratitude that is their due. I will share my medical knowledge for the benefit of the patient and the advancement of health care. I will attend to my own health, well-being, and abilities in order to provide care of the highest standard. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. And as a member of the faculty and a friend, I just want to say to the class of 2020 what a privilege it's been for us to work with you these 4 years. We wish you all the best and look forward to hearing of your successes in the future. All the best to each of you.
It is now time to confer the degree Doctor of Medicine. This degree, Doctor of Medicine, is awarded only to those who have demonstrated outstanding ability and knowledge, and the diligence and personal strength of character to be a physician. Each of you has completed all requirements set forth by the SIU School of Medicine. I have recommended to the Chancellor of the Southern Illinois University at Carbondale that this degree be conferred on you. By the authority vested in the Chancellor by the Board of Trustees, the degree, Doctor of Medicine, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibility, is conferred upon each of you. For recognition of this degree for each of you, our Associate Dean for Students and Admissions, Dr. Eric Constance.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. Would the graduates please be seated? Dr. Ferris Jerry's Abu Hanna. Dr. Jennifer C. Becker. Dr. Joshua Brandon. Dr. Kyle Carver. Dr. Alexander Christensen. Dr. Corey Colbreth. Dr. Omar Daywood. Dr. Jonathan R. Day. Dr. Nicholas Decker. Dr. Brendan Fennell. Dr. Aaron Michael Fleming. Dr. David Allen Forgas. Dr. Allison Patricia Fry. Dr. Zachary Gow. Dr. Logan Tyler Garth. Dr. Caitlin Marie Gibson. Dr. Sheila Gogula. Dr. Kyle J. Gallen. Dr. Lauren Ann Grant. Dr. Aaron Joseph Livingstone Hancock. Dr. Ben Christian Howder. Dr. Gary M. Hendricks. Dr. Thomas Herman. Dr. Mackenzie Ann Haywood. Dr. Jennifer Caligari Hill. Dr. Doreen Janine Hinton. Dr. Artemis Holquin Mills Hoffman. Dr. Stephen J. Ippolito. Dr. Colin Ennis. Dr. Evan A. Jenkins. Dr. Riley S. Kraus. Dr. Nicholas J. Lanzotti. Dr. Abigail Michelle Levy. Dr. Patrick Hale Long. Dr. Griffin Ludwig. Dr. Erica Madakalam.
Thank you for everything, Mommy. This one's for you and me.
Dr. Shelby Ann Markle.
Thank you, Mom, Dad, and Jordan. Love you.
Dr. Krista S. D. McEwen. Dr. McKenna Murphy.
This is all my friends and family for all your support.
Dr. Marissa Kircher Nugent. Dr. Takara Onyewinyi. Dr. Susan A. Wu.
Thank you, Mom, Dad, and family. I love you.
Dr. Dalapa Oseni.
I would like to thank my mom, my sister Ranti, my brother-in-law Lucy for their constant support and love during these past 4 years. I love you all. This is my degree as much as it is yours. So thank you so
Dr. Neil Carter Parker.
I'd like to thank everyone, friends and family, for supporting me for the past 4 years. So, thank you.
Dr. Trevor Parr. Dr. Andrew Partain. Dr. Joseph Flederer. Dr. Thomas J. Pumo. Dr. Aaron Ray. Dr. Catherine Rose Richards. Dr. Samuel R. Ritchie. Dr. Lacey Jean Wilkita. Dr. Nick Schlarman. Dr. Kevin M. Schrader. Dr. Kelly L. Schmidt. Dr. Carrie Schwertman. Dr. Ryan Scribner. Dr. Warren Scoza. Dr. Jacob Martin Standard. Dr. Christiana Joan Stark. Dr. Brody Roth Stewart. Dr. Bree Nicole Sturm. Dr. Aaron Sewell. Dr. Candace Brianna Tate Nero.
This is for my family.
Dr. Peyton M. Thomas. Dr. Mason D. Tippy. Dr. Blake E. Vest. Dr. Bradley Davis Vost. Dr. Pete Wade. Dr. Daniel A. Woldridge. At this time, I'd like you all to stand up, turn around, and I'd like you to thank all the people behind you. Parents, grandparents, spouses, aunts, uncles, everybody. You wouldn't have been here without them. So please rise and give them a hand today. Thank you.
Each year, several honors are bestowed at this ceremony. You've already heard from Dr. John Mellinger, who was selected by the class of 2020 to read the Physician's Pledge of the Declaration of Geneva. You've also heard from Dr. Rick Constance, who was chosen as the SIU School of Medicine Alumnus of the Year. He will receive his award next year. Later, you will hear from the recipient of the Golden Apple Teaching Award, Dr. Michael Sass. And traditionally each year, 2 national awards are announced here. The Leonard Tao Humanism in Medicine Awards, one for a new graduate and one for a faculty member. The Tao Foundation decided not to bestow these awards this year to recipients at any medical school in the United States. And now I'd like to introduce our Associate Dean for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, Dr. Wendy Wills-Elamine, who will provide for you some words of wisdom.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. Congratulations to the class of 2020. It has been an honor to witness your journey into medicine, and I am so proud of each one of you. 4 years ago, I had the opportunity to call each one of your names when you received your white coat. I wish that I could have captured the expression on your face. When you pulled that white coat on, it was one of pride, hope, conviction, and determination. I also wish I could have captured the look on the parents' face. You saw the same level of conviction, pride, and hope. These are the key elements that are going to help you on your journey as a doctor. Dr. Maya Angelou has a powerful quote that states that hope and fear cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So invite one to stay. And I use that quote because there are going to be many moments in your life where you're going to stand in that space. Sometimes it's going to be in the wards, sometimes you'll be in the clinic, sometimes you'll be in the community, and sometimes you'll be at home. And I wish you courage to always invite hope to guide you and move you beyond that fear. Our path in medicine demands that we remain grounded and that we are courageous almost every single day. A colleague of mine rephrased once of Charles Bukowski's quotes, and that quote was, "Who were you before the world told you who you were supposed to be?" I hope that you carve out space for reflection so that you are navigating this next journey of yours in alignment with your authentic self. We need you more now than ever. Your collective wisdom and voice is needed in our communities, our hospitals, our clinics, and at the bedside. Our nation will need to heal from the trauma of this pandemic, and you, the class of 2020, will play an essential role in our healing. Remember that anytime you're in a room and have an opportunity to learn how your fellow man or woman are suffering, you are receiving a sacred gift. You can choose to close your eyes, or you can choose to move boldly with that gift. As a graduate of Southern Illinois University School of Medicine, we know that you will move boldly because we know that you have a duty to make sure that you're not just leaning in on this journey, but you're digging deep. We need people that are not going to sit back and turn away or close their eyes. We need people who are going to speak up and speak out for those that are suffering. So when you take that Hippocratic oath, I think the two most essential elements are that you're practicing self-care, you're committing to that daily self-care, and that you're choosing hope. Congratulations, doctors.
At this time, I recognize Dr. Aaron Hancock, Chair of the Class of 2020.
Good morning. To the friends and family who do not know me, my name is Aaron Hancock, and I've had the privilege of being the chair for the Class of 2020 for the past few years. Before I get started, I'd like to introduce someone very important to our class. The Golden Apple is a teaching award that is voted on by the class and awarded to the faculty member who has most influenced us. This year, that award is presented to our pathology professor, Dr. Michael Sass. Dr. Sass.
Thank you, Dr. Hancock, and congratulations to all of you on your accomplishment. Today I want to thank you for the Golden Apple Award. It belongs as much to you as it does to me. As you know, I recently sent you an email hoping to convey just how much you have meant to me. With all of the social distancing and cancellation of in-person commencement, I did not want you to just leave the campus before telling you how I felt. So if I may today, I would like to draw from that email. When I first came to SIU in June of 2017, I had just left 31 years of clinical practice in pathology to accept a new challenge, teaching all of you about the basis of human disease, but not the pathology of yesterday that was centered upon death and taught tiresomely from around an old autopsy table or from rank collections of ancient preserved tissues. Instead, I wanted to help you help the living in whatever discipline you ultimately chose. And to accomplish that, you needed to see and understand what was happening inside your patients. And that would require a new approach. So I spent the summer of 2017 focusing on the first of many alphabet soup units in year 2 and attending curricular meetings where everyone else spoke in code about OSCEs, CCCs, CCXs, DXJs, and MCQs, and I thought, what have I gotten myself into? And then I wondered, can I even do this? And would the kids accept me? And then I met all of you in August at the cookout in the atrium, and you talked to me with a friendliness and an openness not commonly seen anymore. We learned a little about each other that day and many other days throughout the year. We shared some personal challenges and lifted up one another. I answered your many emailed questions, weekends included, and you supported and encouraged me, and that made me work all the harder for you. When the year finally ended, and after I had slept for what seemed like a week straight, I looked back on my work and thought, sheesh, how did they learn anything from this? I had given you so much material in so little time. And so after reflecting upon my experience with you, I found a new way, other than just lecture, to deliver pathology content to future classes. So all of you played an instrumental role in improving the educational experience in pathology at the SIU School of Medicine. At a moment like this, some look to scholars or philosophers or perhaps even statespersons for words of inspiration. Not me. By now, you know my quirkiness. I prefer to remember the sage advice of Pat Morita's character, Mr. Miyagi, in the film The Karate Kid, who urged his young friend Daniel to go find the balance. So be great doctors. Do good work for others. But I also want you to find the balance between your personal and professional lives that will bring you happiness and peace. I love you all, and will miss you always. Congratulations again, and thank you for making my time at SIU so meaningful.
Well, class, since that hot August day that we donned our very first, very short white coats down in Carbondale, this is not exactly how we imagined our medical school career ending. We are not in an auditorium sitting next to each other. Dr. Cruz is not handing us our diplomas. Dr. C is not hooding us. We are not walking outside and taking pictures with one another. And there will not be pauses in my speech to see if you laugh at my jokes or applaud at something dramatic I've said. But let me tell you, we have done it. Today will still mark the day that we can officially call ourselves medical doctors. I've been struggling with what to even say to you guys and to energize and uplift you. A lot has changed lately. Our last 3 months of medical school that were supposed to end with a bang suddenly came to a fizzle. It has been a tough pill to swallow, to say the least. When things aren't going my way, I usually am reminded of a quote by Charles Swindoll. Life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. We may not have a 100% perfect graduation, but we have the capability to still make it 90%. After all, 90% is still an A, although we don't get grades. Anyways, with all of the unexpected downtime, I began to reminisce on our years of medical school, and it wasn't difficult to come across happier times. For our family and friends who do not know the whole story, let me fill you in on some of the gaps of what really occurred during our years at SIU. It all began the day after our white coat ceremony. We were a group of over 70 bright young adults who were filled with emotions. A new place, different people, and an arduous journey ahead may bring excitement, but it definitely brings a fair share of fear and anxiety. Will I be good enough? Am I supposed to be here? Did the admissions committee accidentally accept me? We received our first dose of imposter syndrome. There was only one logical thing to do in order to calm these fears and get to know your classmates. Pile on to a yellow school bus and take a winery tour in Southern Illinois. That day, starting to get to know you guys, I began to recognize how special our class is. After our winery shenanigans, it was time to get down to business. I do not think we will ever forget the experience of our first tutor group, shout out to Jamal, or being thrown into our very first standardized patient on the second day of school. And I dare say, our first blithering session with Dr. Anderson. But finally, we are starting to learn the material we needed in order to become doctors. Physiology, anatomy, histology, and yes, even a little bit of biochemistry. Things started to feel real, if it hadn't already. All this learning does not mean we didn't take our noses out of the books and enjoy the finer things that Carbondale has to offer, such as sticks, levels, pinch, and beautiful hiking. Alas, let us remember one of the biggest moments in the last century that occurred while we were there. As hard as it is for me to say, when the Chicago Cubs finally won the World Series. A short year later, we picked up our things and arrived in Springfield, which, in case you didn't know, is where Abraham Lincoln lived. In the interest of keeping things positive, I don't have a whole lot to say about that year, besides Dr. Sass is the GOAT. Which brings us to third year, Imposter Syndrome Part 2. Although we got our feet wet with patient care throughout the first couple of years, we really got thrown in the deep end. It was exciting, yet daunting, to begin to pick our specialties. It required not only that we learn about medicine, but about ourselves. What do we value the most, and where does it fit into this profession? It's hard to explain, but the phrase of, "You'll know when you find your tribe," stands true. This past year, our final year, did not end the way we imagined, but it still held plenty of excitement. We interviewed across the country. We matched. We had lots of vacation time. We filled out a lot of Google forms, and we are graduating. Over these past few years, we have changed. Think about the first time you walked into Lindegren Hall for orientation and compare it to who you are now. We have learned, we have matured, we have gained valuable experiences. We have made friendships that will last the rest of our lives. We have changed for the better. It has been exciting to watch it all unfold. No longer are we the newbie students who are scared walking into our first lecture. We are now newbie residents, walking into our first job in the hospital as doctors. Although we have changed in all these ways, each one of us is still a unique individual who brought something special to our class, to this medical school, and to the profession of physicians. As we begin our careers, we will continue to change. A profession where different guidelines are available every day, and where new knowledge is discovered at an unimaginable pace demands change. However, particularly when times become difficult, do not forget to stop. Take a deep breath and relish the important moments, like this one. Do not forget to stop and remind yourself why you chose this path in life. Do not forget to stop and be proud of yourself for the countless hours of studying and numerous sacrifices you have made to achieve this goal. I'd like to end with the most important part. I'd like to extend a thank you from the bottom of our hearts to the families, friends, and loved ones who have been there for us during this journey, who sent us good luck texts the night before exams, who sent goodie bags when studying for STEP, who traveled to visit us because we couldn't spare a couple hours of studying time, for sharing a couple extra dollars to go out and eat instead of eating ramen noodles, and so much more. Class of 2020, congratulations. I love you guys and wish everyone the best at their respective careers as physicians. I will miss you in this journey with you. Thank you.
To each of you, I say congratulations. All of us at your School of Medicine are very, very proud of you. The SIU School of Medicine exists for two reasons: to optimize the health of the people in the communities of Western, Central, and Southern Illinois, and to advance the discipline of medicine. We do that by educating physicians, physician assistants, and scientists, by research into the causes and cures of disease, and by caring for people and caring for communities in systems of care that meet our triple aim plus one: healthcare and healthcare education that is more effective, more efficient, more equitable, and more enjoyable. And you, the graduates of the class of 2020, will fulfill these aims. You are an amazing class, and to you, I doff my hat. You and I are living in an era of history that will never be forgotten: the COVID-19 pandemic of 2018 and 2019. And I hope they don't add any more years to that title. This is the era in which a new virus arose, the SARS-2 coronavirus, a virus that has not allowed us to gather together for this graduation ceremony today. When a new era such as this begins, a historical perspective is needed. I wrote about such a perspective in one of my daily messages to everyone at SIU Medicine a few days ago. I was inspired to write that message by this book, The New American Family Physician, published in 1899, 1,155 pages. This book contains a 6-page section on influenza, at that time a catch-all phrase for infectious pandemics that occur in colder months. The symptoms listed in the book were quite like those of influenza-like illness, ILI, the type of respiratory and constitutional symptoms that are characteristic both of influenza A and of COVID-19. I will quote from the book. "The disease has visited America twice previously in the past century. Authentic records show that it has occurred repeatedly during the past 300 years. Many patients do not regain their normal standard of health for weeks or even months afterwards. Nervous prostration may develop in a considerable proportion of cases, and insanity results in not a few. One attack does not protect from another. Crews of ships approaching land under a headwind have had 1/4 their number attacked by the disease within an hour, and within 24 hours the entire crew suffered. In the last epidemic, the disease followed the course of travel. In prisons, when the prisoners come in direct communication with one another, it occurs to a great extent." And now a good one. "If the patient is very weak after an attack, a little whiskey should be given 3 times a day for a few days." Sound advice. Now the lesson is this. Worldwide pandemics such as this occur periodically, and we have known that for a long, long time. We must be prepared for them, and we must learn from them. 19 years after this book was published, the Spanish flu spread throughout the world. A comparison of the social practices in Philadelphia and St. Louis taught us that social distancing is effective for that virus and for COVID-19 as well. And we will learn a lot from our experiences with COVID-19. Now I have one more comment about history. The academic garb that we wear for graduations and convocations arose in medieval Europe at a time when there were only 3 learned professions: law, religion, and medicine. The garb, the cap and gown, the regalia, became a symbol of achievement, of authority, and most importantly, of responsibility. One of my esteemed teachers, Dr. Jerry Perkoff, taught us the importance of professional responsibility by frequently emphasizing the 5 historic characteristics and responsibilities laid down for the 3 learned professions, of which you are now a member. I will quickly go through each one of those 5. Your responsibility number 1, master and continue to master an expansive body of knowledge. You have done it, and you will continue to do it, I have no doubt at all. Your responsibility number 2, to have completely confidential relationships with your patients. You will, I have no doubt. Your responsibility number 3, to be a leader in your community. Whether you know it or not, we have trained you to be a leader, and each of you will in your own way. I have no doubt. Your responsibility number 4, to teach the next generation of physicians. We have prepared you well to teach. You will, I have no doubt. And now, your responsibility number 5, to provide uncompensated care. This one has changed over the years. Historically, all professionals knew that some patients or clients could not pay, and as professionals, accepted their fair share of those people who could not pay. With the advent of health insurance and the stigmatization of the term uninsured, the provision of uncompensated care became an issue of the care of populations, not just individuals. To you, the class of 2020, the provision of uncompensated care means that collectively, and representing the profession of medicine, you need to assure that the patients in the community who need care are actively sought out and that methods are developed to break down barriers to care, to build trust, and to provide the needed care in the context of your patients' beliefs and cultures. This is a great, unmet, and largely ignored need right now, and it is responsibility number 5. It is a responsibility to the profession of medicine, and you collectively, as a profession, need to step up. And I know that you will. Each of you in your careers will make a big difference, individually and collectively, professionally and personally, for people, for families, for communities, for populations. The faculty and administrators and staff and the other students and the resident physicians and the fellows and our partners are all very proud of you. You make us smile. On behalf of the faculty and administration of the SIU School of Medicine, I welcome you as colleagues, the class of 2020. Congratulations, doctors. This convocation is now complete. The commencement of your career has begun. We wish you always the best.